Fly for Fun, globally released in 2005, saw huge popularity as an MMO boasting the ability to fly, usually on magic boards and brooms. From the weird weapons you could equip in this game, like giant yo-yos or a mega fist, the odd style choices like steampunk-inspired environments or magical jesters, there were all kinds of quirky things to love about FlyFF. Although it had so many flaws the game would essentially be dead by 2020, there's good news if you still want to play in 2024. 2 years ago, an official browser-based version of the game called FlyFF Universe was released. This is essentially old-school FlyFF, akin to old-school RuneScape, cross-platform and all, but there was such a massive amount of love and care put into this release that I couldn't possibly explain it all in one video. What I want to know, and perhaps you also, is the game worth playing in 2024? Let's find out together on another masochistically driven MMO adventure where I'll relive my childhood and discover the good, the bad, and the ugly of FlyFF Universe. Guys, this is so pretty. I've just booted up the game and I couldn't even do the first quest. Like, I got sidetracked. I started messing with some of the graphic settings, the new graphic settings I should say, because most of these did not exist in the original FlyFF. And just look how good this looks. Oh my gosh. They went so crazy with the lighting and everything's been retextured too. It looks so good. Alright, I'll actually get to playing the game now. Yes, level 5. All I've done so far is just a tutorial and a quick little quest to get you off your feet. Like, basically just teach you how to play the game, how to kill monsters type deal. But it's gonna hook me up with a free level 5 shield. I got a sword upgrade to start out. And now I can actually start getting to playing the game. Getting to the real meat and potatoes here. I am gonna get off the initial channel before I start actually playing. But I did just want to show off real quick. The game gets a lot of players. As you can see, town's pretty full here. A lot of people have their shop set up to sell you some items. Now I'm just going to swap over to get a little more peace if I can. Alright, now that I'm set up and I have all the tutorial quests out of the way, you're probably wondering, what's going on here? If you're a longtime viewer of mine, you know I love a good challenge when it comes to MMOs. And it's true I do have a catch on how I'm going to play, but first I want to circle back to how this game initially failed before the launch of FlyFF Universe. FlyFF, the way I see it, has always had one major issue, and that's the presence of pay-to-win content. One of the many goals of FlyFF Universe was to make the game more accessible to players that aren't willing to wail to make progress. Spending a ton of money was essentially a requirement for 2 reasons. Killing monsters is very slow, and XP gains are very little. Paying real money in the past could buy you scrolls, and still now, it can buy you scrolls to improve the XP earned from monsters, as well as just flat out give you stats that will help your combat. Like this one gives health, attack, you got a scroll that increases XP right here. FlyFF Universe has combated these issues in a few ways. Firstly, XP gain has been increased, and it's largely increased while you're playing with a party. XP scrolls are also regularly gifted to you through a login reward, and as well as events. Here's the login reward. You can hit claim right here, and you'll get various things from consumables that give buffs, scrolls that give XP. There's all kinds of good stuff in here, as well as some junk too, but some of the biggest changes are actually centered around the game's only support class. And this guy. In FlyFF, you gain stat points per level that you can assign as you wish. The problem with these is you only get 2 per level, and they don't really do a whole lot. They give you very little advantage. I'll go more in depth on these stats later, but what you need to know is a ton of power has been shifted to the game's support class. This makes them more rewarding to play, and hopefully more abundant so they can help players level up quickly. The problem with this is some of the best stats acquirable in the game come from these support buffs, so if you don't have a support class handy, you're significantly weaker than intended. Just to give an example, if you gave support buffs to a level 20 Magician class, that Magician will receive at the very least roughly 40 level ups worth of stats. And that's just the level up stats themselves. Those buffs also come bundled with millions of in-game money's worth of stats like percent bonus HP, speed, casting time. It's an insane amount of power to give out. And it's also an insane amount of power to not receive. So, to highlight how much the game has changed, in good and bad, I'm going on a Desertmore-style journey to play as much of life as possible as a free-to-play Ironman. I won't have help from other players, like buffs, party XP, and I won't buy gear from other players or the premium shop. The end goal for this series is to kill FlyFF's most iconic and first major boss, Clockworks. Starting with some baby beetle boys. Alright, let's get to work. I'm probably going to be at these beetles for a little bit. I want to see if I can find some gear upgrades while I'm here. Like, okay, perfect. Helmet right off the bat, +2 upgraded. Awesome. Yeah, that is exactly what I'm looking for. Let me guide your attention to how much damage I deal to these. This is the HP bar at the top. It goes down very, very little per hit. And now that I have this helmet on, I don't take as much damage, but these guys still kick my ass. I'm going to need to eat food as I train here. I do have a very small amount of buffs. Over here in the top left, these are buff peng buffs, that little penguin dude I clicked right before I went over here. These are significantly nerfed from the original FlyFF. And like I said, that's because they wanted to put a bunch more power on the actual supports of the game rather than an NPC everybody can interact with. But it is a little unfortunate, you know, to see so many of these really nice stats taken away from the lower levels. Nice. Second gear upgrade. That's probably everything I'm going to need to collect for now. I'll get more as I level up. That means next I should probably do this puppy quest that I picked up in town. Quests are another thing that have been greatly reworked since the launch of FlyFF Universe. They give a lot better rewards now, and I mean a lot better rewards. They also give significantly more XP than usual, just another way they tried to make leveling up easier outside of amplification scrolls. So they're very worth doing. Hi, doggy. Yoink. Easy, look at that. I think I just gained like 90% XP. All I did was walk somewhere. Quests are really good now. Now I can pick up the first quest item quest. And these are a staple of leveling, honestly. These are just something you'll kind of naturally do as you progress through the monsters. And they typically, later in the game, they give you like 20% every time you do one of these, which is a huge amount of time saved at some of the longer levels. I'll be doing every one of these I can find. Alright, I got my quest items. I'm ready to go turn in that quest. But if you didn't know, Puke Pukes and the beetles are some of the only sources of the pike suit you can get in the game, as well as the rest of the pike set too. And the pike set is a very big defense bonus from the level 1 gear. And I'm going to equip those because defense is extremely important at these early levels. They're going to save me on a ton of money and make sure I don't die while grinding. Cool, just like that, I'm ready for my next quests. As long as you're doing these, you will fly through the early game. The early game I'm talking about, by the way, is the... So this is one of those games that when you make your character, you don't select your class. Like MapleStory, you have like a beginner class to start out with. You take that time to figure out what job you want to pick later on. And that lasts until level 15. Oh, check that out. Weapon upgrade. Small, but something. Oh, another upgrade. Nice. just need one more level for that. I'm just collecting some letters for a quest real quick. I did see this guy here, though, and I wanted to point him out. So in old FlyFF, dying was obviously a pain. You'd lose XP, but what really sucked, in my opinion, was having to go all the way from, like, let's say you're on the top side of the map up here. If you die up here, you have to go all the way back to town, which it was really upsetting, in my opinion. I don't want to have to do all that walking on top of the fact I just lost progress from the death. And they finally did add a way to change your where you respawn, and then you can do that with this guy right here. Just thought I'd mention that real quick while I'm gathering up these letters for a quest. Hey, but also, while I'm in the area, I'm going to go ahead down here as well. Don't worry, you don't take fall damage or anything. Right on this rock is a book of technique. This is going to come in handy later. Now I can cut through the river. Just astronaut jump my way up through this mountain real quick, don't mind me. Alright, this XP is about to come flying in. There we go. Another quick 90%. I mean, I was probably working on those quests for like 10 minutes. I really appreciate the quest system in this game. I mean, grinding is cool and all, if you're into that, but I like that you also get to mix it up a little bit. Farm some quest items, go pick up some stuff off the floor. Alright, time to test out this new axe I got. In the long debated discussion, swords versus axes, which one is better? If you already know the answer, keep it to yourself, alright? So, this level 6 sword handclaw has 14 attack, but it has a very fast attack speed. And it looks like that's resulting in an average DPS of about 70 per second versus these urchins. I'm gonna wrap up this kill here. And I'm gonna equip the current axe, which has 25 through 33 attack instead. So more than double, or about double, but it's only got normal attack speed instead of very fast. Let's see where that goes. Well, that wasn't even close. I thought that would be a lot closer, honestly. So, turns out this axe is better. Maybe double the damage is a little extreme. As a trend, axes tend to have more attack than swords, but the attack speed tends to make them weaker. The only advantage to using axes ends up being skills. Because they give you higher total attack, they boost your attack stat the most, right here in the character menu. Which means your skills, which I haven't talked about quite yet, benefit a lot more from having an axe equipped. Why would you want skills? Well, they have their own base damage. They also have an attack scaling. For the Vagrant class, like the noob class, it's always going to be strength. So I'm just going to go ahead and max this out here to demonstrate. Or let me look at the scalings here. So this is base 27 to 28. Goes to 1.17 scaling. This one starts out at 5 to 6, maxes out 7 to 8 with 0.5 scaling. But I'm pretty sure the difference is Flurry here hits multiple times. So even though the scaling on paper looks worse, I think it's actually better? Question mark? I'm just going to go ahead and send that. I'm going to get them equipped to my action slot. Go ahead and use them. Now the cool thing about skills, they do consume FP, focus point, so you will have to use some kind of drink, like this vital drink, to restore that. But they ignore hit rate skills, so you end up dealing a lot more damage than just swinging the axe normally. See how my damage increased to about 300 per second there, as opposed to the like 120 I was getting by just swinging. So if I just swing the axe... Oh. Maybe I just got really lucky on that first kill. Because this is looking a lot more like what I thought it would be. It starts dipping down towards about 70%, or sorry, 70 DPS. Yeah, axes are not much better than swords when it just comes to like auto attacks like that. Where they really shine is with skills. So I can take that 70 all the way up to, look at that. Huge damage. So I'm gonna stick with the axe for a bit now. Just gonna drink some vital drinks. I'm gonna have to pick up more of those at town. I just wanted to demonstrate that. Nice, level 10, and oh my gosh, a sword for level 10. That is perfect. I might not use it for the reasons I outlined earlier. I am gonna try to switch to like a skill build, I think. Alright, now for this case, I'm actually gonna go sword. It's only like 2 attack less, and the attack speed will help me recover my FP as well, mid-combat. But what level 10 also does mean, I can equip these boots, and I can also talk about the last skill in the Vagrant Tree, Overcutter. This is a finishing move. It's designed to go after Clean Hit and Flurry in your combo, but it costs 30 points. 30 FP points. Because of this, even though it does hit very hard, it always has to follow Clean Hit and Flurry. And if I just add up what I have right now, so this is 5 FP to cast, 15 to cast, that's 20 total. If I just throw on Overcutter, even level 1 there, I do not have enough FP to even cast this. For this reason, a lot of people will choose to max Flurry instead and just spam Flurry. And you will have extra points because of this. You're meant to have enough points to put some into Overcutter. But because I won't be casting it at all, the rest of those points are going to go to Clean Hit. Also, I know, if you're a longtime player of this game, putting skill points into Vagrant skills probably has you biting your nails. I understand. But one of the many quality of life that went into FlyFF Universe, as opposed to FlyFF, is when I hit level 15 and do my job advancement, my skill points will be reset, my stat points will be reset. Stat points I'm pretty sure always happen, but in the past, it was highly advised to ignore the Vagrant skills in the beginning. Even though that would slow down your leveling in most cases, that was simply just to save the reskill scroll, the very precious reskill scroll that you would get from job advancement. You no longer have to worry about that. You are free to spend as many skill points as you want in the Vagrant Tree. It will be refunded. Happy skilling. What? What is this quest translation? Fresh start for mop. I'm pretty sure this quest back in FlyFF was like fresh start for children or something. They wanted you to collect teddy bears. Yeah, why is this called mop? It's still a teddy bear. That must just be a mistranslation. Yeah, this quest wants you to get teddy bears for an orphanage, but in FlyFF Universe, the House of Children wants you to collect 3 mop. Okay. And ironically, you have to go kill orphan children to collect their mops to give to the House of Children. Great design. Flawless. Oh yeah. I've been talking about all this like strength scaling for skills and whatnot, but I've completely neglected all my stat points. But yeah, all the reasons I've outlined before, strength is your best stat as a Vagrant. You could make an argument for Dex instead. I mean, it would increase your hit rate, which is, I mean, hit rate's just not a huge issue at these levels. I don't think Dex is terrible, but especially if you're going to be spamming skills like me, strength is the best. Oh, thank goodness. I just got enough keratin to complete this quest. I'm almost completely out of food. I mean, even with the 50 biscuits that I started with from quests, plus the food that these guys drop, I'm still just getting obliterated out here. I'm losing so much health. That's why I said defense is so important early game like this. Like death and taxes, taking damage in FlyFF is completely unavoidable because combat is done automatically. So I'm just going to pick up pretty much the whole next armor set. There's no guarantee it'll drop by the time I'm around level 15, so I'll just get it now. Save myself the money that I would be buying in food. Speaking of food, I need to pick that up, and I also need to grab those FP potions so I can keep using my skills. There we go. Thankfully all these quests give a good amount of money. That way I can actually afford to buy all this stuff. me see, what is the most cost-effective food? Looks like chocolate bar. Just spend the rest of what I got. I'll make more from quests anyways. Alright, moving on. Making great progress so far. Nice, level 12. Equip that suit. Ting! Looking good. This is so much faster with the food and the drinks. Look at this. He's pretty much dead already. I don't have to worry about anything. Except my money, but... Holy crap. That's really good, right? Wow, that is a huge damage increase. I two-shot now, oh my god. Also, I really like this blue weapon effect that comes out from having a +3 weapon. It really makes you feel like your weapon's better than usual. Oh, what? Died like a dumbass, but I think opening this box should boost me up to 75%. Yep, perfect. And 75% should be just enough to turn in the Lawwolf Claw quest at the office, and I believe that's going to boost me up to 15. I just need to go pick that up real quick. Perfect. Awesome. Oh, finally level 15. That was a little slower than I remember, honestly. But I did run out of refreshers. I kind of got carried by this awesome axe that dropped, but at level 15, I'm going to be able to choose my job. And that's it, right? The new player gets to level 15, carries on to job advancement, and then continues on their way to the endless grind ahead for loot and glory. It doesn't have to be that way, though. See, FlyFF has some very evil 20-year-old mechanics baked in. Earlier I mentioned how powerful it is to get stats like speed from a support class. Another way to get these great premium bonus stats is from what we call green equipment in FlyFF. Gear in FlyFF mostly just comes with one stat, defense. Green gear, however, is a very rare drop, and if you're lucky enough to find a piece, you'll notice it has bonus stats that require you to complete the set. The more of one set you equip, the more stats you get. Easy enough, right? That's where things get complicated. These green sets are much, much stronger than normal gear, but if you want their stats, you're looking at a 0.1% drop rate from monsters. And you saw how slowly I killed. So, you might be thinking, just farm low-level monsters then. If you could do that quickly enough, you'll eventually find what you want in a decent amount of time. Introducing evil mechanic number 1. The more you outlevel a monster, the lower their drop rate gets. Here's the exact table, but this penalty is brutal. Evil mechanic number 2. To avoid overleveling and messing up your drop rates potentially, you are allowed to lock your experience gain, and that will prevent you from leveling up. So as slow as leveling is already and killing in general, you have to sacrifice this progress if you want to farm the gear that has actual stats on it. Locking your XP also costs in-game money, and it costs so much that it's actually impossible to keep up with the lock at this low of a level. You don't earn enough Penya from monsters to keep the lock on for 200 kills. There are some countermeasures you can use for this at this low of a level, but the lowest level green set you can get is just not helpful enough to justify the time and buckets of effort required to obtain it. I'm only mentioning these because in the future episodes of this series, these mechanics and more are going to play a large role in the success and great frustration of my and pretty much all FlyFF players' experiences. Look forward to that mess, as well as what job I advance to in the next episode.